MyMMANews Radio. Presented by MMA Signatures, featuring weekly special guests, ass-kicking interviews, fight results, and much, much more. Here are your hosts, Eric Kowal of MyMMANews.com and AJ Hiller of MMASignaturesUSA.com.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of My MMA News Radio. Tonight I am joined by my host, Mr. AJ Hiller of MMA Signatures. We do not have a guest in studio. That's because we have a lot to cover. There were a lot of great, exciting fights this past weekend.
Amazing week of fights.
We were at Bellator 186, Penn State University. AJ, even though I had media seats, AJ had the better seats.
You know what? That was absolutely amazing. I'd like to thank Matt Aptaker and Alima McFarland for those seats. We sponsor Alima, so that was pretty awesome of them to hook us up with those great seats. And what an exciting night of fights that was.
Yeah, it was. First and foremost, I want to say I spoke with Ethan Goss today. He was the second fight. You were probably just walking in at that time because you like to be fashionably late.
Yes.
But so Ethan lost a very close split decision, and I spoke with him today about it because he was frustrated. And it's one of them things where, when you kind of break down fights about the scoring of each round, the judges, they view each 5-minute or 3-minute round, whatever it is. In this case, it was a 5-minute round. But then after each round, they write down their score and they give it to the referee. The commissions gather it.
Right.
So each round is individually scored. So what happened here in this fight, and it's nothing against his opponent, he was fighting Andrew Salas, but what his opponent did was he won the first 2 rounds, in my mind at least.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's what the judges thought as well, because that's what happened. It was a split decision. But those were 10-9 rounds. There were he won those 2 rounds, and then Ethan won the third and final round with ground and pound. It did go to a decision, but he pretty much dominated that round. It should have been scored a 10-8 round.
Oh, so it could have been possibly
it possibly
draw.
Could have been a draw. But what happened, in that second round, his opponent didn't really do much except kind of hug him from behind. So no damage really inflicted.
Right.
Kind of point fighting, won
GSP
the 2.
usually fighting too.
Correct, except for in this past
right.
weekend. But so he won the 2 rounds, and then Ethan ended up losing the split decision. Ethan had a lot of fans there.
Yeah.
A lot of fans. He's from Penn State area, so he had a lot of fans there. Everybody started booing. I spoke with Ethan today, and he said even the commissioners, I won't name names, he said people in the commission came up to him and said, "You got robbed."
Wow.
So, there's obviously issues there with scoring. We've known that for years, mixed martial arts. Even boxing has that. There's something has to be done to change the...
What could be changed, though? What can they do?
He said that in the rules meeting, they said the new unified rules are in place, but they're not in place.
Right.
They're in place, but they're not in place.
Makes sense.
What does that mean? What does that mean? So with the new rules, if he was dominant, it should have been a 10-8 round.
Right.
And he would have at least got the draw.
Right.
Which, it's not the win, but he might have been a little bit happier. That didn't happen, so he ended up losing a split decision. And his gripe was, not only is the officiating and their lack of judging knowledge, but now he's got a loss. He's a pro.
Yeah.
And what does that do to you as a pro? Because now, you could lose sponsors. He's not going to get back. He's probably, even though he did put on a great fight, probably not going to get the call back to Bellator.
Right.
So now you got to go back down to the regional scene.
Right.
So
it's a shame, and of course we were down there again for Brett Martinez. Brett fights out of our gym, and unfortunately he was on the losing side this week. But I'll tell you what, Brett's an amazing guy. His camp, he had a great camp, and his opponent, he put on a good show that night. You know, I've seen him fight before, Richie Petishnak, and you know, he was prepared for this fight. You know, unfortunately, Brett just didn't have the answers.
Yeah, one thing I've got to actually commend the commission for was, and I'm going to send Greg Serb an email about this, was they did 9 prelim fights from 6:30 to 8 o'clock.
How about that?
I mean, before the fighters were even out of the cage, the next ones were in.
Yeah.
You never see that.
Never.
Greg just didn't want to stay late, is what I'm getting. They didn't want to have dark matches after the main event, which was good for us too, because we had to do the press conferences after. And I just didn't want to be there till 2, 3 in the morning.
You know, it was pretty cool, and I wanted to talk to you about this because I'm a Penn State alumni, and I bleed blue. You know, no matter what, I'm Penn State all the way.
Mm-hmm.
You interviewed Cael Sanderson.
No.
You didn't?
No, we're going to.
When?
I don't know when.
Because I want to be there.
No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be in person.
It will be in person. We're going to make sure this is in person. Okay.
It's going to be a phone interview, but
I'll be with him on the phone then. Let me go out there and tell him that you're going to send a representative of My MMA News to make sure that he's not reading off of any script or anything like that, and I'll be out there talking to him. I'm a huge fan of Cael. You know, he's an amazing guy, and you know, maybe we could get him on the show one day. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. The card was great. Phil Davis, Ed Ruth, both alum from.
How about Ed Ruth?
Yeah.
This guy's a wrestler, and he's knocking people out.
Yeah, I did not expect that.
Yeah. He's 4-0 with 4 knockouts.
Are all of his women knockouts?
all knockouts, and he's a wrestler. This guy is a dangerous son of a gun. I don't know if you've ever met Ed. He's one of the nicest guys in the world.
We talked to him there backstage afterwards. I did not expect that. The one fight that truly did not impress me was Phil Davis.
Yeah.
And again, it's not anything against him. You know, I can see now why the UFC let him go.
Yeah.
Number one, he wasn't extremely marketable. Bellator did the right thing by making him marketable by putting him at Penn State,
Right.
where he went to school. But still, that fight against a guy that 99% of the fans there never heard of, Leo Leedy.
But he was undefeated, 10-0 or something like that.
Still,
Right?
nobody knew who he was.
Right.
Nobody knew who he was. Phil should have either, made the fight a little bit more exciting or finished him. He didn't really look too exciting to me.
No.
Not worthy enough to go back for a title shot.
Yeah. But believe it or not, where I was sitting, it was pretty exciting. You were back a little bit, so you might not have seen
I was
the
like three feet
excitement. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah. No.
But no, you're right. But even when Phil was with the UFC, he's a safe fighter.
Agree. And that's exactly why I see the UFC didn't really care to re-sign him. He wasn't an exciting. Yeah, he was good where he was getting wins.
Right.
And he was a top 5 guy.
Yeah.
But he wasn't exciting. Nobody was saying, I'm gonna order a UFC pay-per-view this weekend because of Phil Davis.
Exactly.
Bellator did the smart thing by putting him at Penn State.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smart thing.
Absolutely.
But he just in my mind, he didn't do enough to earn a title shot again. And then I don't know. He looked gassed to me.
Right.
By the 3rd round.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because watching Phil, he fights with his mouth open. I don't know if you paid attention. So it's like he's almost breathing out of his mouth when he's fighting, which is unsafe if you ask me. Because his mouth.
Yeah, it could catch flies in there.
Yeah, flies, everything.
How do you keep your mouthpiece in?
I don't know. But I'll tell you about another fighter that surprised me that night. And generally, I consider them a quote unquote, I'll call him a boring fighter or a safe fighter, and that was Ryan Bader. Man, he put on a show. Yeah.
I did not expect that finish, especially that quick.
Right.
Linton Vassell, who you called Lipton T last week.
No, I called him Linton, but I was making a joke,
yeah.
And you guys, it was
I had to correct
delay.
you. But no, I did not expect that because Linton has put on some wars, and he's a submission guy. He's fast. He's
big.
crafty. Yeah, he's big. I just did not expect that.
Yeah. I was talking to his manager the day after the fight, and his name is Matt Aptaker. You know, he's one of the top managers in MMA, and Linton should technically be a heavyweight, and that's what they're talking about now. Maybe moving him up to heavyweight. You know, and imagine his speed,
all
his size.
all those guys at light heavyweight, the dominant guys should be heavyweights. Even
Yeah.
Bader, we were talking to Bader afterwards
Yeah.
in the back, and he said, yeah, you know, if I could fight a heavy, he's 235.
Yeah, yeah.
So
He's a big dude.
yeah.
Big dude.
But so the question came up backstage was both Phil and Ryan answered this. What, you know, now that Bellator has this partnership Spike with Ryzen.
Verizon?
No, not Verizon. Ryzen Fighting Championship
Oh,
in
okay.
Japan.
I always called it Risen.
I
guess
think it's
Ryzen.
called Ryzen.
Ryzen. Oh,
Right.
man, I've
Like
been saying
Ryzen
it wrong.
Sun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been saying it wrong for the
Yeah,
whole
you've been
time.
saying it wrong. But hey, we could both be saying it wrong.
I know.
It could be something
It's a
completely.
Japanese promotion. It could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Could be-
It could be Risen.
Yeah.
But anyway, somebody asked both of them, you know, now that Bellator has this agreement with would you consider going over there? And they both said, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's possible. I like it. The rules are a little bit different, but yeah, I like it.
How cool is this? Bellator will allow their
Fighters
to go and fight with another promotion, even though they're connected somehow. But that's awesome because it opens up so many
Look
other
at
opportunities.
Michael Venom Page.
Yeah.
He had that boxing
match, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only one they allowed to do that recently was in the UFC was Conor, and
Yeah.
that was because it was
A
$1
lot
zillion
of
dollars
money,
on
yeah.
it.
And I saw recently Gabriel Gonzaga fought in a boxing
Well,
match.
yeah, but he's no longer with the UFC.
Yeah.
So-
But what's cool is you know, boxing, which everybody thought was you know, going downhill, is now all of a sudden making a comeback, which is cool because I'm a huge boxing fan. Huge boxing fan.
Certain fights.
Yeah.
Certain
Yeah.
fights.
Slow, quiet comeback, I say.
Yeah.
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 Certain fights, but then same thing with MMA. A lot of, like Dana's saying, like 2017 was the UFC's best year, but I think he's including the Conor boxing fight.
He would have
So,
to. He would almost have
you know,
to.
with the amount of people pirating and with the amount of events going on,
Who's pirating?
I
Who's pirating?
don't know who's
I'm only
pirating. I wouldn't even know how to do it.
Yeah.
But,
I can
um,
show you. It's pretty easy.
But anyway, yeah. So their numbers are definitely going down. But what else happened? So Alima,
Oh,
sponsor.
my God. Alima is absolutely amazing. I don't know if you had the opportunity to talk to her after the fight, but we've sponsored Alima now for, you know, several of her Bellator fights. Not several. She didn't even have several.
She sung to us.
Yes.
In the post fight conference.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She did karaoke.
Yep, amazing girl. And I'll tell you what, you know, with our sponsorship, you know, her social media and her Instagram, Snapchat is awesome. Like that's a sponsor's dream. When you have a fighter who actually goes ahead and, you know, acknowledges.
You do the
their
Snapchat
sponsors.
thing?
No, I don't even know how to use it. My kids do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
I have no clue how to do it. You know.
don't.
But you know, she's good at this. You know, or the you know, on Instagram when you click their picture and you could see their videos and stuff like that. I don't even know what that's called. You know, but you know, I'll watch her things and she's just all about.
Sounding like my dad now.
Yeah, I know.
Are you on the tweeter?
Yeah, yeah. But at the end of the day, she does just a great job.
How do you view President Trump's tweet?
Yeah. But she's awesome.
No,
And,
Alima, yeah, she put on a great fight. 5th round armbar. 5th round.
Yeah.
You know, pretty close. She would have won the decision anyway. It would have been 4 rounds to 1. Even Coker said that.
Where was the one round?
I think it was round 3. It was either 2 or 3. It was either 2 or 3. Emily Ducote came back and was winning the round. So it was at the point it was 3 rounds to 1. But if it had gone to decision, it would have been 4 rounds to 1. What else on the Sadawad? Another one.
Yeah.
50
Say that 5 times.
Sadawad.
Wow, pretty good.
So anyway, 15th fight with Bellator. He told us backstage, he said he wants a little bit more promotion.
Yeah.
Not getting enough promotion out of the organization.
Yeah.
15th fight. I mean, that's nobody knows. He says
Right.
he's always on the. This case, he was the first fight on Spike.
Yeah.
He says, I don't get any promotion. I'm winning. I'm knocking guys out. I put on exciting fights.
Yeah.
But people don't know who I am. I'm always the first fight.
Right.
Or he's on the prelim card that airs on Spike TV or MyMMANews.com.
You're right. But you're right. After 15 fights, and what's his record in Bellator? Do you know?
I could look it up. But,
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure he's basically just a guy that they're not promoting. But at the end of the day, he's got a great management team, which is Matt Aptaker and Kyle.
no, he had a first round knockout.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, he is no joke. Speaking of knockouts, right?
Yep, I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm listening. I can do two things at once.
How about that flying knee?
Oh man, yeah, that
Was that crazy?
Tywin Claxton.
Yeah.
That's his name. That was his first pro fight.
First pro fight.
First pro fight, might have the knockout of the year.
Yeah. He was like Michael Jordan, in the air, tongue out to the side, from across. Actually, he jumped from on top of the cage.
Yeah.
Across.
He was a good interview too.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. He pretty much. I have the videos up on MyMMANews.com. He told us, you know, he'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. Doesn't matter weight, except for light heavyweight or heavyweight.
Right.
But he said, you know, he just wants to fight. Doesn't matter who, when, where. Bellator can call him, and he put on everybody on notice. Said he said, you know, get out your shovels now and dig your own graves.
Yeah.
But he was an exciting, like,
Yeah.
fun guy to talk to.
And I was talking to his family, you know, after the fight a little bit, and he was undefeated as an amateur as well. So he's no joke, this kid. And
Yeah.
that he's not even known for his
No,
striking
so
or knees or anything like that.
He was telling us too. Somebody asked him about he had a beef with Aaron Pico when
yeah.
he was trying to get when Pico first got signed. He was trying to get his fight with Pico because, you know, Pico was getting all the press.
Yeah,
He
right.
said he sent a box of tampons to Pico's gym.
Really?
Yeah, and Pico didn't do anything, no response. So he said, at that point, I had to stop being a bully. And I couldn't do anything further because, you know, if he would have pursued it, he's a
Right.
bully.
Yeah.
He said,
Yeah. Wow, we got a call.
I mean,
All
like
right,
that.
let's see who's calling in here. Thank you for calling. Who do we have here?
Yes, my name is Vendela Rockefeller.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. I finally get to hear what your voice sounds like.
You guys are the best, and you guys have motivated me to work out and really get everything going. My husband tells me that I'm going to kick his butt.
Oh, you should. You probably should. You
So
know?
you're
AJ, how are you, my dear?
I am doing great. This is the first time I'm actually hearing your voice. You know,
I know.
I see.
I know. It's so nice. I can't believe I actually got you on the phone real quick.
Yeah. We were actually going to
Okay.
start taking
How are you
calls.
doing?
We're doing great. We're you know, hanging with my buddy here, Eric from My
Yeah.
MMA News, and
Wonderful.
Bill and Terry.
And I would like to promote you guys. Hey, I mean, whipgirl.com, all of our stuff is you know, we all hang out with each other. The best thing to do is, what I would like to promote is fitness. I mean, really, fitness and working out. I mean, it really helps.
Oh yeah, it really does.
It helps a lot.
It does a body good.
Yeah.
It's like milk.
And and also, you know, good food, good that, and you know what? If you have the motivation and promotion to go and do that to yourself, get it done.
Yes.
And that's the best way to go.
You're absolutely. You know what the hardest thing is that first day, committing yourself to saying, you know what, I'm going to get back in
You're
the gym.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
it's tough. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, it's tough. But it's also, once you get it done. Oh, I quit smoking. You know, like 8 years ago.
Right.
I was cold turkey.
That's
so you know
awesome.
what? No smoking, people.
Yeah.
Okay. No more of that junk stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Get it over with. Because you know what? You will be so much better.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely.
And AJ, you know, I'm a big fan. I'm always a fan. I have fans myself. We all do the same thing.
Yes.
But I really love you, and I'm proud of you, and your arms look like my thighs.
Yeah. Well, thank. I'm so glad you.
You're going to come and see me at a fight sometime. How
I
about that?
absolutely.
And make
We'll
sure
put you
look
on a
up
show.
My father-in-law in the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds
Okay.
great.
I love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much
Okay,
for
I
calling.
love all of you. All right, talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
So who is that? Do you have your great
Yeah,
aunt
that's
calling?
no, that's Julia Rockefeller. She's a Facebook phenomenon. Check her out.
Any relation to the Rockefeller family?
I'm
Of,
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a common name, so it's got to be some kind of, So
Ask her if she can get us some
I know
passes to go skating.
yeah, she actually has a. They're from down in the Scranton area, and they do a lot of good things down there. They actually have like a museum and stuff like that. I chat with her on Facebook, and follow her on Facebook. So make sure you check her out.
All right. So back to Saad Awad. Let's see. He's 21-9. His first fight with Bellator was January 31st, 2013.
Oh wow!
So he's been there 4.5 years.
No
Right?
kidding.
Yep. So he's beat Will Brooks. He also has a loss to Will Brooks, but
Right.
he had the Will Brooks knocked him out in 43 seconds. He's fought David Rickles, Patricky Pitbull, Evangelista Santos, Derek Anderson, Brennan Ward
So he's fought
he's-
top names.
in Bellator. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's beaten top names in Bellator, who are headlines, and like you said, he's relatively unknown, so we'll make him known. Eric. I mean, we have 3 billion people watching our show every week. Let's make him known. What do you think, Terry? All right, good deal. But back to Alima. She did a great job. And at a $125, she's a force to be reckoned with. Did you get a chance to talk to her?
Yeah, we did.
one-on-one?
Yeah, like I said, she's gonna go on vacation. She said she has a fight that she's helping preparation for in December. She's gonna be doing some training with the training partner, getting them ready for December camp, and then she's gonna go. I believe she said New Zealand.
Yep.
New Zealand.
Oh, really?
She's gonna go.
She's gonna go out there, hang out with Mark Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't even know. I'm going to throw this out. I know one of her training partners is Liz Carmouche.
Yeah, it was Liz. Yeah,
Oh,
that's who
okay.
it was. I was trying to remember who it was, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was Liz. Liz is fighting in December.
Who's
and
Liz fighting?
Let's look it up.
Because Liz hasn't fought in a year since last November.
Yeah, it's so it's gonna be the December.
Liz has the first win in Madison Square Garden under UFC's belt. How about that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So she's like what's crazy? She's also under the Matt Aptaker and Kyle
They're all of the same
umbrella.
management.
Yeah. So I mean, Liz is a doll. You've met Liz before, and it's been over a year since she's fought. Well, November 12th last year. Was it November 12th?
So she's fighting Alexis Davis,
Oh wow, that's a good fight.
December 9th, Fresno.
Oh, that's cool. That's gonna be a good fight.
So there was another fight card this weekend.
There was?
Yeah. The Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of
even
it.
heard of it.
Yeah. So UFC 217, 3 title fights. And what do you think?
You know what? I'm going to tell you what. This is the craziest thing in the world, and I suck. I'll be the first to admit that I suck. Well, for one thing, thanks for everybody who's watching on Facebook Live, on MyMMANews, and also my personal one. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Forza Sports. They're running a special. Check out www. I know I don't have to say.
Yeah, you don't have to do WWE.
Forza
in
Sports.
2017.
.com. Use MMA News and receive 10% off. Great sponsor there, Combo Hitter. Thank you for being such a great sponsor. Brad Kohler. Thank you to Juiced, located at 564 Main Street in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Campbell's Tree Service, 3 generations of excavating tree service. Give Andy a call, Campbell's Tree Service. Who else we got?
Pull No Punches Apparel. Visit pullnopunchesapparel.com. And when you do another event, when you
Yeah.
put on one of your boxing events,
Right.
reach out to Mark. He wants to start selling some of his product at more
That'd be
events.
awesome. That would be awesome.
Yulo Chiropractic, 856-269-4567, drulo.com. Keep your body healthy by getting your spine adjusted. Visit a chiropractor. They do great things for your body. Get you nice and
Nice.
limber.
Nice. But what I will tell you is this. My predictions for UFC 217 was no title was going to change hands.
So you suck.
I was 0 for 3.
You
0
sucked.
for 3. I sucked. That was like the worst. Well, I'll tell you how bad I am. You know, if I was betting on fights, I would be broke. Because my son and myself, the one UFC card, we each did our picks. You know what I mean, for the fight card. I went 0 for 13. 0 for 13. So this card here, not that I wanted, because believe me, Rose Namajunas, love the girl. I think she's awesome. Her and Pat Barry are friggin' awesome. They were at my gym before. Johanna, she's awesome. I've done so much work with Johanna before. But before this fight, it was almost like a Ronda Rousey. I don't even want to call it a Ronda Rousey type thing, but I thought Johanna was out of her. I don't want to even say out of her league. I thought she was in a different league.
I'm not. I don't think anybody would disagree with you.
Yeah.
I think there were people who picked Rose to win, but I think they were just doing that as just to be the upset or see
Right.
the upset. I don't think anybody truly. I shouldn't say anybody, but there was probably most people that were picking or betting on the fights. They would have said that Rose was going to lose that fight.
Yeah.
And if Rose did win, it wasn't going to be the one the way that she did.
She knocked her out.
She made her tap.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
Johanna said that she didn't
Yeah.
tap. Didn't you read the Facebook?
Uh,
You're the one who put it up there.
She said she didn't tap. But
No, I know.
yeah,
You
yeah,
saw the
she
tap
was
clearly.
tapped.
You saw the clear tap.
But no, I did not expect that. I expected if Rose won, it was going to be a submission. I didn't think she would win on a decision either.
Right.
I thought it would be a submission. But she knocked her out, and then, But out of all 3 title exchanges,
Right.
I think that's the only fight on that night that gets a rematch.
With
an immediate rematch.
Immediate.
I mean, because Cody never defended the belt,
Yeah.
and then Bisping barely beat Dan Henderson, and
Yeah, he didn't beat Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson should have retired as the UFC champion.
yeah, okay,
Do we agree?
I agree. But
Okay,
aside
okay.
from that, yeah, the only one that should get the immediate rematch is gonna be Johanna, but there's a chance she might even move up. So we don't know if that's gonna happen. She's gonna take some time. We'll see what happens. But Cody Garbrandt gets knocked out.
How about that? I will tell you what. Cody, of course, released this footage this week of him knocking out
Was that karma?
T.J. Dillashaw, and what it was a knockdown. I don't think it was a knockout on that video, but Cody is no joke. I mean, that should be his nickname, Cody No Joke, not No Love. And he got caught, and that might have been the best TJ I've ever seen. Because if you think about TJ versus Dominic Cruz, he wasn't. He didn't have that power. He didn't put Dominic down at all. He, I guess it was almost like a safe fight when he fought Dominic Cruz, and it actually could have went either way, that fight. But at the end of the day, Cody getting knocked out by T.J. Dillashaw is something that I didn't see happening in a million years.
I just think it's interesting because you can do the whole MMA math thing.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't, but,
Yeah.
but it's interesting because Cruz beats Dillashaw,
Mm-hmm.
then Garbrandt beats Cruz,
Yep. Garbrandt
Then-
embarrassed Cruz.
yeah, and now Dillashaw beats Garbrandt.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why MMA math does not make sense.
it's interesting though. But main event, GSP against Michael Bisping.
Me personally, I wanted Bisping to win, and the only reason is I don't think it's fair for somebody to leave the sport for 4 years, come back, get an immediate title shot at a weight class that they've never even fought at.
But he won.
He did. He did.
Sell
Yep.
tickets.
Yeah. And I know it's a ticket. It's to sell tickets, and Dana White said that this pay-per-view was going to sell more than the Conor and
No.
Mayweather. Which I'm sure they're close. It's got to be
No.
somewhere a few million
Yeah, a few
difference,
million.
you know. But at the end of the day, you know, GSP did his thing, and you know, this was the GSP that I wanted to see. This is the GSP that people remember from, you know, 8 years ago. You know, before he got knocked out by Matt Serra, and it wasn't a safe game for him. You know, he went in and, you know, there was times that he was laying on Bisping, and Bisping was catching him with the elbows and cut him open, and it was pretty exciting because we saw the GSP of old, I think, and hopefully this will be good. We got another call coming in, and they hung up. Thanks for hanging up. But we're going to start taking your calls, so give us a call at 888-304-4401. We're still going to talk about UFC 217 because there's so much to talk about. So we're going to talk as the calls are coming in. But,
who do you think? Bisping said he would like to compete on the London card, which is in March, I believe, February or March.
Right.
So that's, you know, I'll take 3 months off, kind of regain composure, you know, and then they'll book him for that possibly, and that makes sense because he's a big draw there.
Yeah.
But who do you think, realistically, who do you think they?
There's two names that he has to fight. It's either Chris Weidman or Yoel Romero. That's who he needs to fight.
Bisping.
What are your?
I think he loses to both.
Well, without a doubt. Thanks for calling. Who we got here?
Hey, man, it's Ryan up in Oklahoma City, AJ. How you doing?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Good, man. Hey, I appreciate you always having the good deals on the autographs, man.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Well, let me ask you, does the John Jones get 70% off now?
Yeah, actually, John Jones, we pay people to take the John Jones.
Dude, I'm accepting. You can send me my PayPal. Send me email.
Sounds good. Send the pay.
I'm actually giving out John Jones autographs to homeless people with sandwiches and bottled water. Yeah, man, I actually go by Gandhi Bones. I'm a stand-up comedian out here in Oklahoma City, man. I love y'all's show. Love everything. AJ, I love everything you do for the MMA community. All y'all, man, I respect you. But, man, I almost cried when Joanna got beat.
Oh man, that was devastating.
Hey, I'm gonna be on her side. I'm gonna say that she got hit so hard that her hand flopped twice.
Yeah. yeah, that's a good way to look at it, you know.
So Cody is such a prick that I was hoping he'd get knocked out. So I was happy about that one.
Yeah, that was a lot of people don't like Cody. I just think he's so talented, you know, and I know he's been knocked out in his amateur days, but this guy, he's going to win that title back.
I don't know if it's going to be again. I don't know if it'll be
Anybody that
still a
spends that
show.
much money on neck tats don't deserve a title.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, wait.
I'm gonna tell you this also, man. What did y'all think, honestly? Like, one word, both of y'all, one word for GSP.
Dad bod.
What?
Dad bod. He looked out of shape.
Oh yeah.
That's the one word. My one word for it would be wow, because I did not expect that shit at all. Like, I thought, especially after getting cut like that and starting to look like he was going to get beat, to come back. After 4 years, man, that probably was the most incredible performance I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when it comes to a comeback and something amazing like that, that was the best. Was that the best show? I mean, what show was better than this? I really can't remember one.
You know what? I agree with you, Tony.
Yeah, there've been good cards. There's been a couple good cards this year, but nothing like that. Not with 3 title fights, all with finishes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, I might be pushing it a little, guys, but of all time, like this event was so entertaining. I can't recall one that was as entertaining.
Yeah,
except,
I would agree with that.
What was the one with the one that had it was packed? It was It was Rashad Evans versus Forrest Griffin. They had like
that was that
fight.
Yeah, was that the card they called stacked?
Yeah, that was stacked.
There was one card that they called stacked. I think it was like 98, UFC 98
No,
or
I think
something.
there was man, shit, I can't remember exactly. But anyway, there was like 4 or 5 title fights or 4 or 5 big fights. Anyway, there's never been anything like this. 3 championship fights and all of them lose their belt.
Has that ever happened?
You couldn't script No, never. You can't script some shit like that.
Yeah.
That's like Days of Our Lives shit.
Days of Our Lives.
We got soap operas. You know, that'll be the next
That's
step.
like watching a reality show and be like, no, fuck that. You know it's fake. Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Right. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. See, and that's the thing, you know, like I wear a rubber band to remind myself not to cuss because my mouth is worse than anybody's mouth out there. Besides, maybe Andrew Dice Clay and myself are about on the same level. So I have to remind myself. However, when we were signing the contract to do this show, you know, and one of the things was no cussing, we told Terry, the owner and the producer, we're going to have calls. You know, we're going to have guests where people are going to cuss. You know?
Drinking.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Look at the only day of the week I drink is Mondays. Seriously.
Yeah,
I drink this. Maybe we could get a sponsor from this. Red's Wicked Apple. You know, and the reason that I drink this, it's like 8.5% alcohol. You know, and I like to get a quick buzz. You know, so I could come out of my shell a little
Gives
bit.
them courage.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I like to
Courage.
go like myself.
Yeah.
I drink 100% vodka.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Tony, I see you on Facebook, and you're drunk at like 8:00 in the morning sometimes.
You're damn right. That's real.
And he's 2 hours behind us.
Another
Yeah.
thing, real quick. I know y'all probably got other callers, but I'm more entertaining than them, so screw them.
Yeah.
But Mickey Gall.
Oh my God. We didn't even.
And I like Randy Brown. When I first watched that Looking for a Fight show, I really liked that kid. I was upset the 2 fights he lost, but I was really glad to see that night, man. Like, Mickey Gall even said it was a gift to get this fight, that he will get big fights after that. He totally looked right past a dude that had way more experience than him, and he got beat down. He put on a decent fight, but what do you think of Randy Brown in there?
You know what? Randy Brown is no joke, and you know, I was very biased watching this fight because you know, we know Mickey Gall very well. Mickey Gall's been to my gym. He is trained at my gym.
Everybody's been to your gym. Man.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
But hey, Mickey Gall only lost because he had that 70s porn mustache.
Yeah, that's gotta go.
Beat him.
You're absolutely right. That mustache has got to go. Yeah.
What's up with the Walt Harris fight in Godbeer?
What?
Disqualification.
Yeah. Okay. So do you believe that? Do you believe he honestly didn't hear him? And
I think, yeah, I believe him. I believe Walt because when you're in the moment, you don't hear anything.
Yeah, I don't think he purposely.
Yeah, he's not a dirty fighter.
Yeah, and Blake Rice was refereeing that. Blake did the right thing. He told him to stop, and he rushed in there. But once that foot comes up, you know, Walt Harris is a big man. Yeah. Once that comes up, there's no slowing that down. It's like a train.
Yeah.
So it was already. I
had 2 more questions before I get off. John Jones have you guys heard any update? I mean, what's going on with this?
So I believe the preliminary discussion or hearing is going to be this month. The last I heard. I'd have to double check on that, but
it's nothing. It was big deal. It's nothing. It's nothing.
So yeah.
But I love John Jones. Man. Every time I love John Jones, I feel stupid.
No.
And I was so happy that night he beat Cormier, and then I see Nelson Castro on there clowning about John Jones fans. I'm like, hey, screw you, buddy. And then I look, oh shit, steroids again. I'm like, he's a black tail son.
Yeah, yeah. He's
But
it's a shame when
my last thing was this though, Joanna, what's next for her, and who's next for Rhodes?
Well, I think the immediate rematch would make sense.
Immediate rematch.
Well, after in a 1-round stoppage? I mean, because Joanna does deserve it, you're right, but I think she has to fight again before. I think Rose should get to defend against someone else first after that.
I can agree with you. I could see both sides, and the only reason I would say that Joanna gets the immediate rematch is because she was so dominant and had so many successful title defenses that it would be, you know, they give a lot of champions that opportunity to go back in there, and I think it would sell. I think it's a good. I think it would be a match that would sell because a lot of people want to see, could Rose do it twice?
Right.
So strike now while the iron's hot.
I got so many questions, but I'm gonna cut it short. But do y'all like one question? Do y'all like Woodley?
You know what? He doesn't get the
honestly. Do you like Woodley?
He doesn't get the respect he deserves. I respect him as a fighter, as a person. I don't know him well enough to even answer that question, but I respect him as a fighter.
GSP versus Whitaker. Who wins?
Whitaker. I mean, again,
Really?
any fight is 50-50, but Whitaker's the bigger fighter, and I think he's got more knockout power.
So can Woodley beat both of them?
No, absolutely not.
But then a week ago,
Neither?
we were also saying that Rose wasn't going to beat Joanna.
No, you're right. I gave her no chance.
So anything can happen.
Yeah.
All
No.
right. Hey, guys, it was great talking to you.
Tony.
I'll be on here again for your next one. AJ, I'll be hitting you up for them autographs, but since I helped your show be even cooler, I should get discounts.
Oh, you got discounts. You are the man, buddy. I'm so glad you called in. Thanks so much, and hit me up. We'll work some deals out.
All right, respect, guys. Peace.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh. All right. Well, thank you for calling in. That was fun.
So yeah, that was a exciting fight card. What about Johnny Hendricks? What does he do now? TKO, second round.
I don't know. You take this guy who, in my opinion, and probably 99% of people's opinion, beat GSP. And from that point on, he's just gone downhill.
Yeah.
He has gone downhill. He was knocking people out cold.
I think the weight is the big problem.
Yeah, and how? Let me ask you this: how can a wrestler, a world-class wrestler,
Have so many weight issues.
so many weight issues at 70, and then he goes up to 85,
And he has the issues.
and he has weight issues? If you've ever met Johnny, he's not a big guy. He's probably maybe 5'5", 5'6". I don't even know.
he's not very tall.
So it's not like, there's no way he could ever go up to 205.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's, I think he could still possibly be a contender. I hate to even say that because he is an exciting fighter. You wait when Johnny Hendricks is fighting. You wait for somebody to be knocked out. How about this? Wonder Boy and Masvidal.
I don't know. I mean, on paper, I thought it was a great matchup, but I wasn't like overly excited about that fight after it started. It just didn't unfold the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
Wonder Boy point fought, and
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it wasn't. It didn't make for a great fight actually as it unfolded.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you think that's enough to give him
another shot?
another shot? Yeah.
No, not against Woodley.
Right. So what's next for Wonder Boy? What's next for Woodley? Do you think they give GSP the opportunity to fight Woodley?
So that was the question that was asked to Dana backstage. Was does GSP go back to 170? And
Right.
Dana said no, 185. But when has Dana ever not lied?
Yeah.
or exaggerating the truth a little bit.
At
So
the end of the day, he's all about making money. And guess what? That fight would make a ton.
okay, so I'm gonna be the jerk that goes out and says this, and it's not, I don't think it's gonna be the first fight for either of these guys in 2018, but I think by the end of 2018 you are gonna see GSP versus Conor McGregor.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
And I'm not saying I want to see it. I'm not saying it's the best matchup to make. That's not what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the way that this organization is going, and with the money that Conor wants,
Right.
who else is gonna? Did you see how much money GSP made off this fight?
How much?
$2.5 million almost.
Really?
The next highest paid fighter was Bisping at like $580,000 or something. I don't have the
Wow.
figures in front of me, but there's a $2 million difference there, and he comes back off a 4-year layoff.
Right.
So who else is going to bring in that kind of money for Conor?
You're absolutely right.
I mean, the Tony Ferguson fight is there, but they're not going to pay Tony $2 million
No.
to fight Conor.
No.
I think GSP and Conor by the end of 2018 is going to be, as long as both of them win their next fights and keep the movement going forward, building up their name, building up the hype,
Right.
more than what it already is.
Yeah.
I think you have that fight.
So let me ask you this. I see all over the place, Conor versus Diaz-3, Conor versus Ferguson. What's going on with this?
So Conor came out last week in an interview and said that he wants ownership, or he wants like promotional rights.
I saw that, yeah.
So I could see them caving, because if you think about it, the UFC is already like has all these little like 1% owners.
Right.
And they're making hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars a year off that like 1%, whatever it is, whatever they each have. But you give Conor like a 1 or 2%, and off of fights that he sells, he's gonna make, on top of his fight purse, he's gonna make money, and that's the only way that he's gonna be able to pay, because he just went from a $30 million guaranteed boxing match, $30 million guaranteed, back down to what could the UFC really guarantee you.
I don't even think their gates and their pay-per-views combined. I think the average is about $30 million.
So they were paying him like, I think it was $10 million for the Nate fights, right? And that was the top guy, like the top draw. You're not going to put him against Tony Ferguson and pay Conor $10 million or $12 million. It'll sell. It's going to sell. But it doesn't have that factor that Nate versus Conor did. So you don't pay Conor as much because you're not going to make as much.
Exactly.
But if you give him the promotional percentage, and he helps sell it, he's going to make money off both.
So there's a lot of question marks out there of what happens next with this. But how about this fight? We didn't even talk about this fight. OSP and Corey Anderson. What are your thoughts? Corey Anderson was dominating this fight. I mean, he was
then
literally
the head kick from hell.
Yes. So what's next for the OSP? Takes this fight on short notice. He just fought a month ago.
You asked me who he fights next?
Yeah. I mean, is he in line now for a title shot? I mean, we had number
he
6.
had so he had the interim title shot against Jones. And then didn't he lose one more fight, or did he come back?
No, he's Von Fluken everybody.
Yeah. Von Pruing now, I think.
Yeah, Von Pruing. They changed the name up.
I don't know. I mean, do they do that match with Shogun that they wanted to do, the rematch?
You know what? But what does that do for
it doesn't do anything for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. We only have a couple minutes left, so let's go.
Well, let's get some calls. I mean, everybody's sending messages here on Facebook that they want to call. You guys can call in. Call in at 888-304-4401. That's 888-304-4401. Thank you to everybody who's been watching on Facebook Live, also on MyMMANews. We have a great weekend behind us that we're talking about, and we'd like to hear your thoughts on this. So give us a call.
This coming weekend, UFC. I'm actually not going to be able to watch it live. I'm going to have to record it, DVR it. I'm going to be at ACC 17 in New York. But the UFC heads to Virginia on Veterans Day.
Yes.
Dustin Poirier versus Anthony Pettis.
That is an awesome fight.
Why?
Well, Poirier is he just gets better and better every fight. And his last fight was against Eddie Alvarez.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So, I mean, his last fight, he was, that was a back and forth fight, and I don't know why they didn't do that rematch.
Well, because they did that. They did the reality show.
Yeah. But I think that's going to be one heck of a
so
fight.
it was the no contest against Eddie Alvarez,
Right.
and then before that he has the win over Jim Miller.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I see Pettis winning this one.
Yeah, you know what, Pettis, you can never count Pettis out. This guy is he either comes and does amazing, or he doesn't.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Hey, who do we got here?
Don McGuire.
Hey, Don, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks for calling in, bud. This guy,
Hey, no.
Don, is like a Facebook machine. You see this guy with pictures with everybody. I think last week he had his picture taken with Donald Trump. Yeah. How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing good. I just want to, everybody's all talking about, of course, the main fights, but I just want to get their take on the Open State Proof fight.
Yeah, we're just actually talking about that, and OSP. We're actually just talking. What's next for OSP? Is it a rematch with Shogun? Is it another title shot? What are your thoughts?
I'd like to see him get another title shot.
Yeah, I definitely think he's deserving of it. He's he's got so much potential. He's marketable. He's got the football fans behind him. He's got the MMA fans behind him. He's very well spoken. I would love to see him fight DC. Does DC even have a fight scheduled?
So he's supposed to fight Ozdemir. How do you say his name?
What?
It hasn't been
seen that official yet.
It's not. Yeah, it's not official.
The thing that kind of gets me with DC, I think after losing to Jones this last time, as I've known DC for a long time, it just seems like his heart isn't really in stepping back in the octagon right now. But one other question I really got for you guys is, you look at Big Ticket this last weekend.
Yeah.
Now, many are saying that it should have been a no contest instead of a DQ. What's your guys' take on it? Because when I look back and reflect on it, I see the ref stepping in as the kick was already fully extended. What's your guys' take?
Me personally, I 100% believe that it wasn't done intentionally, and I think it should have been a no contest.
Well, it was okay. When we say done intentionally, he did mean to throw a kick.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a fight,
Right.
but he didn't know. He didn't know that the ref was stopping it because of a groin strike. That's why it was temporarily stopped.
Right.
He was going into the ref was going. Walt Harris did not know, in my mind, that the ref was going in. He couldn't hear him. Number one, it's loud. It's Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And two, like we said already, the kick was already in motion. You don't stop a kick like that. It's like trying to stop a car on a dime.
How cool would it have been if the ref jumped in and took the kick?
Blake.
Right? It was pretty cool, but the rule of thumb is, unless the ref jumps in, you continue fighting.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
So, and I know Walt Big Ticket Harris personally, and he's not a dirty fighter, never has been a dirty fighter. He's actually one of my preferable fighters, especially when he's coming back off a quick turnaround like that. I think he did a tremendous job. Yeah, there was the growing shot, but, when you go back and you look at it, the ref didn't stop it per se, and so in his mind the fight was continuing. And then, like I said, you take it the next step further, the kick was already in motion, it was already set. He jumps in as he's kicking him in the head. So I think that ruling needs to be overturned. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts.
I agree. I agree with you 100%.
Make it a no contest.
Yeah.
One more thing before I go, and I apologize for taking up too much time, is I got in a fight with a Bellator matchmaker earlier because, everybody's talking about that it will do little for Doug Rose to give a rematch to Joanna. But, you look at Joanna Jacek is a fighter who controlled that division. She won the belt back when Rafael Dos Anjos won his. I mean, we're talking, she ran this division for years. Out of respect, being that we love the sport like we do you feel personally that a rematch should happen, or do you think that Doug Rose gains nothing from a rematch?
Me personally, I think a rematch they should definitely do a rematch. Johanna was so dominant in this division, and she definitely deserves a rematch. And a couple different reasons. One, for the UFC standpoint, Jessica Andrade would definitely be the next in line probably to fight Rose. And how would that sell pay-per-view? I don't know if that would sell as good as a Rose versus Johanna 2.
Yeah, I think the money fight there is, strike while the iron's hot. Do the Joanna versus Rose match too. I wouldn't headline a pay-per-view with it, but you put it maybe like do another card where there's 2 title fights and make that the first title fight of the night. But the rematch should happen because she's been so dominant. And then I think a lot of people would tune in. You know, the UFC is all about making money. They would tune in to see if Rose can do it twice. If Rose can do it twice, then you build it up as Rose is like the new big best, 115 pounder. She took out Joanna, who was dominant for a couple years. So I think that's the reason they do that.
Yeah. And how about, Rose was so composed during fight week. Johanna was Johanna, and both girls are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You've met both of them.
Yeah.
Don, I'm sure you've met them both a million times.
Yeah.
And they're both awesome girls. And Rose has had her ups and downs in the sport. But she, as of recent, this is the best Rose you've seen, and she's got her fiance Pat Barry is absolutely amazing, and I wish the best for Rose just because she's not that trash talker, which usually trash talking sells. You look at the Diaz brothers, you look at Conor, you look at these guys, and the trash talking sells. I think Rose sells just because of her innocence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you. I as you know, I've been in the sport for this my 21st year,
Right.
and one thing that us old timers have never been really too adamant or cared for is the trash talking of the Conor McGregor era. For a lot of us, is taking away the true grit and grime of the sport, and it added the entertainment aspect of the sport. And so when you look at these humble fighters that are coming up, like Rose, and even taking it out of the UFC, going to King of the Cage with Juan Archuleta and other fighters that are coming up that are very respectful, you see a new enlightenment, and the sport is being brightened again by these warriors like Doug Rose. But I find myself in a spot, being that I'm old school and the new school. But the fight that really done it for me, with this last UFC 217 was Dillashaw versus Garbrandt. Looking at that fight, I think it was a win-win for either one of them. Even though at the end of round one, Dillashaw really looked like he was gassed and didn't have nothing left in the gas tank, to come back and pull the win off against Garbrandt, I think it truly says tremendous aspects about the warrior that he is. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, after that first round, when Dillashaw went down, and basically you were seeing what Cody posted earlier in the week of him knocking, Dillashaw down. After that, me personally, watching that fight, I was like, all right, he's going to beat him this next round. There's no doubt about it. Garbrandt is going to put him out. And to have Dillashaw come back after that adversity and knock Garbrandt out. Did you see?
I didn't see that. I thought Dillashaw would win, but I thought it would be a decision.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see him knock him out.
Did you see? Many times you watch fights and, Joe Rogan will say, oh, his eyes rolled behind his head. You actually saw Garbrandt's eyes roll behind his head.
You did the Undertaker thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bells and everything you heard.
Yeah.
But me personally, Don, I didn't see that coming from a mile away. But good for TJ. He's still young. He's still the future of this sport, as so is Garbrandt. And I could see this happening again. I could see a trilogy between these guys. I see Garbrandt coming back, beating TJ, and then a third fight happening with them. But the question is now, does Garbrandt deserve
No, not
an immediate?
No, he never defended it.
Right. So who does TJ fight next? Don, what are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be a Cruz.
Cruz?
Honestly,
No, he called
the
out.
way the UFC's going, it's up in the world right now. Because it's not really what the sport says is going to be perplexed or what should be fair. It's more of a fan-based opinion now.
Right.
Even though you don't think that there's going to be another fight between Garbrandt and Dillashaw, I think the money is going to outplay that, and I think that that's going to happen. The only thing that I see happening out of that is the same thing happening over again. You look at what Dillashaw's done. He's gone. He's training now with Cub Swanson.
Yeah.
He's training with Juan Archuleta, Joe Daddy Stevenson, and all them down there, and Ludwig. I think that, Dillashaw is just a new formidable beast, and I don't think even if they have another rematch that Cody Garbrandt can withstand it.
Yeah. Now, how crazy would this be if Uriah Faber came out of retirement?
He does not deserve.
What?
I like Uriah, but he does not deserve. This would be his 6th title shot that he would lose. He's
Yeah.
not going to beat Dillashaw.
Yeah.
But anyway, no.
It would sell.
We got to get going. We're about out of time. But no, Dillashaw did call out Mighty Mouse for the super fight.
Oh, that's right, he did.
So,
but
we'll
again, that
we'll
wouldn't be
happens. But
defending his title, or would
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
Don, thank you so
thanks
much
for
for
calling
calling
in.
in.
Tim Elliott, but thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me come on your show, and thanks for answering my questions. It's truly an honor. You guys are doing a great job. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
All right, so we're about out of time, but I want to do one fight prediction real quick. One fight that's on this coming weekend's fight card. Matt Brown, Diego Sanchez, co-main event.
Wow. That's all you could say for this fight. Wow. Guarantee 100% I would put $1 million on it. This fight doesn't go to the ground. Okay?
Unless it's by a knockout or TKO.
Right. Man.
I'm going Matt Brown.
Yeah,
It's his last fight.
It is Matt Brown? He's going to
He said
retire
it's
after
his
this
last
fight?
fight.
Oh, no. And I like Matt, too. You know what? I will take Diego. And the reason I'll take Diego, because this guy comes into the ring with so much passion every single time. And Matt Brown, I don't know if I've seen that passion the past couple fights, even though I love Matt Brown. Diego has that passion, and I think I think he's gonna take it.
All right, so you have Diego, I have Matt Brown, so we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it next Monday. But for now, thank you everybody for tuning in to My MMA News Radio. I'm your host, Eric Cowell, joined by AJ Hiller, and we will see you next Monday night.
Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, the undisputed, indestructible combo hitter! The newest innovation in punching technology, the combo hitter. It's safe for all ages and physical conditions, easy to install, adjustable, reduces trauma. The combo hitter is your perfect punching partner. Official sponsor, FightTVPlus.com.